Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. When a woman knows how to stay on a man's mind without even trying, that's a superpower. See, most people think it's about what you wear, what you post, or how often you text them. Nah, that's not it. It's not about chasing attention. It's about being unforgettable. It's about creating an energy that lingers when you walk out of the room, an energy that makes him think, man, what is it about her? Confidence is the one thing that separates a woman who's remembered from a woman who's forgotten. When you carry confidence, you don't chase validation, you attract it. A confident woman doesn't need to beg for attention. She naturally commands it. When you walk into a room with your head high, your energy speaks louder than your words. A man can sense it instantly. He notices the way you move, the calm in your tone, the quiet assurance in your smile. Confidence doesn't mean being loud or showing off. It means being at peace with who you are. You don't try to impress anyone because you already know your worth. That kind of energy doesn't fade. It lingers. And that's exactly what makes a man think about you long after you've left. A confident woman doesn't fear losing anyone because she knows that what's meant for her won't require her to shrink herself. She's not afraid to be alone because her happiness isn't built on someone else's approval. That independence, that self-assurance, it's magnetic. When a man meets a woman who's sure of herself, he feels it on a level he can't explain. He's drawn to it, not because she's perfect, but because she's real. She's not trying to prove anything. She's not pretending. She's standing in her truth, and that truth is powerful. Confidence makes you memorable because it sets you apart in a world where most people are still trying to fit in. Confidence also means knowing what you deserve and refusing to accept less. When you carry yourself like someone of value, people start to treat you that way. A man can tell when you respect yourself. He notices that you don't tolerate inconsistency, that you don't beg for love, that you're not waiting around for breadcrumbs. You're not cold, but you're not desperate either. You're balanced. You care, but not at the expense of your peace. That balance creates mystery, and that mystery makes him think about you. He starts wondering what it is about you that keeps him intrigued, why your presence feels different, why your absence feels louder than anyone else's words. Confidence also comes from having your own life, your own purpose, your own rhythm. When you focus on your goals, passionate about your dreams, and content with your own company, you shine differently. You don't need to post for attention or chase validation because you're too busy building your empire. And that's what makes a man remember you, not because you tried too hard, but because you didn't. You simply existed in your power. You were too focused on your lane to notice who was watching. And that's what kept him watching. Real confidence isn't about arrogance. It's quiet strength. It's the ability to walk away from anything that doesn't align with your peace. It's choosing yourself again and again, even when it's hard. And when a woman carries that kind of energy, she becomes unforgettable. She doesn't need to try to stay on his mind. She already is, because confidence doesn't need an introduction. It leaves an impression that lasts long after she's gone. Mystery is one of the most powerful qualities a woman can have because it creates curiosity, and curiosity keeps a man thinking. When you reveal everything too soon, there's nothing left for him to wonder about, nothing for him to chase, nothing for his mind to replay when you're not around. But when you hold something back, not in a manipulative way, but in a graceful, self-assured way, you make him want to know more. A mysterious woman doesn't rush to explain herself. She doesn't overshare her every emotion, every thought, or every move. She gives glimpses, not the whole story. She lets a man earn his way into her world, and that slow reveal, that sense of discovery makes her unforgettable. A man's nature is built to pursue, to figure things out, to solve mysteries. When everything about you is laid out too early, he might enjoy it for the moment, but the excitement fades fast. The mystery keeps his imagination alive. It makes him wonder what you're thinking when you smile without explaining, what you meant when you said something deep and walked away. It makes him replay your words, your gestures, your energy. He doesn't even realize he's thinking about you. It just happens. You've planted something in his mind that he can't quite define. That's the beauty of mystery. It's not about playing games. It's about leaving space for intrigue, for depth, for emotion to build naturally. A mysterious woman also knows the value of silence. She's not afraid of it. She doesn't need to fill every moment with words or seek constant reassurance. When you're comfortable being quiet, when you can walk away from a conversation and let him miss your voice, you give him something to think about. Men remember women who don't make noise for attention, but leave an impact with presence. Your silence can say more than your words ever could. It tells him you're grounded, self-assured, and not dependent on his response. That makes him want to know what's going on in your mind, because it's clear there's depth behind your calm. Being mysterious also means keeping some things sacred. In a world where everyone shares everything, privacy is power. Not everyone deserves access to your emotions, your pain, or your story. When a man has to earn that trust, he values it more. He starts to appreciate your layers, realizing that every time he learns something new about you, there's still more to uncover. That slow unfolding keeps his attention and his respect. The mystery makes your presence feel rare, like something he doesn't want to lose, because he knows there's more to you than what he's seen. The truth is, mystery keeps attraction alive because it allows space for imagination and admiration. When you hold yourself with quiet confidence and don't reveal every detail of your heart, you stay in his thoughts. He wonders what you're doing, who you with, what makes you smile. He's drawn not just to your beauty, but to the unknown part of you he's still trying to understand. That's what keeps you on his mind, not because you're trying, but because you've mastered the art of being intriguing without effort. Respecting yourself is one of the strongest signals you can ever send to a man. It tells him exactly who you are, what you value, and what you will or will not tolerate. When a woman has self-respect, she doesn't chase love. She chooses it carefully. She doesn't lower her standards just to be accepted, because she knows that real love never requires you to abandon yourself. A woman with self-respect sets boundaries, not to push people away, but to protect her peace. She knows her worth is not up for negotiation, and that quiet confidence makes her unforgettable. When a man meets a woman like that, he feels something different. He knows he can't play games. because she's not afraid to walk away if things don't align. And that awareness alone makes him value her even more. When you respect yourself, you teach others how to treat you. It's not about demanding respect with words. It's about demonstrating it through your choices, the way you carry yourself, the things you tolerate, the way you respond to disrespect. All of it tells a story. A woman who respects herself doesn't argue to prove her worth. She simply removes herself from situations that don't honor her. That quiet strength has more power than anger ever could. A man remembers a woman like that because she stands out in a world full of people willing to settle. She doesn't beg for love or attention. She attracts it through her self-assurance. Self-respect also means knowing that being alone is better than being poorly treated. It's about having the courage to say no even when your heart wants to say yes. It's refusing to accept halfway love or inconsistent effort. And when a woman stands firm in that belief, she becomes the kind of woman a man can't forget, because deep down, men admire strength. They might not admit it, but they do. They respect a woman who respects herself because it makes them step up. It challenges them to be better, to meet her where she is, instead of dragging her down to where they're comfortable. A man might test your boundaries, but how you respond will tell him everything he needs to know. If you bend every time he pushes, he learns that your words mean nothing. But if you stay firm, he learns to take you seriously. He learns that you're not desperate for his attention, that you're fine on your own. And that realization is powerful, because the more he realizes he can't manipulate or control you, the more he respects you, and the more you stay on his mind. A woman with self-respect doesn't chase, doesn't cling, and doesn't beg. She knows her energy is valuable, her time is precious, and her love is sacred. She gives it to those who deserve it, not to those who demand it. And that's what makes her unforgettable, because while others try to win a man's attention, she earns his admiration. He might meet many women, but he'll always remember the one who respected herself enough to walk away when she wasn't being valued. That's how you stay in his mind, by showing him that you don't need him to feel complete. You just need honesty, consistency, and respect. Emotional intelligence is one of the most attractive and unforgettable qualities a woman can possess. It's not just about understanding your own emotions. It's about knowing how to connect with others without losing yourself in the process. When a woman knows how to read the room, how to listen instead of just respond, and how to stay calm instead of reacting impulsively, she becomes the kind of person a man can't stop thinking about, because she makes him feel something rare, understood. And when a man feels understood by a woman, that connection touches something deeper than attraction. It reaches his soul. Emotional intelligence gives you the power to connect without chasing, to influence without forcing, and to love without losing control. A woman with emotional intelligence doesn't try to fix or change a man. She lets him be who he is while maintaining her peace. She knows how to express her feelings without turning them into chaos. When she's hurt, she communicates. When she's angry, she pauses. When she's unsure, she observes. That calm strength makes a man feel safe, and safety is what keeps him close. A man might be drawn to beauty, but he stays for peace, and emotional intelligence gives that peace. You become a place of comfort, not confusion. And the moment a man realizes that your presence brings him calm instead of stress, you become unforgettable. Emotional intelligence also teaches you when to speak and when to stay silent. Not every situation deserves your reaction, and not every argument needs your voice. Sometimes your silence carries more power than 1,000 words. When you stop trying to win every discussion and instead focus on understanding and being understood, you elevate yourself. That maturity is rare. Most people react from ego. Emotionally intelligent women respond from awareness. That difference sets you apart. It shows that you're not driven by insecurity or fear. You're guided by wisdom. And that wisdom leaves an impression that lasts long after you're gone. A man remembers a woman who made him feel respected, even in disagreement. When you communicate with grace, when you can disagree without disrespect, you show emotional maturity. That maturity earns his admiration. He starts to think about how easy it felt to talk to you, how you handled tension without turning into drama, how you made him feel heard even when he was wrong. That's the kind of energy a man doesn't forget because it's so rare to find. A woman with emotional intelligence doesn't chase attention. She builds connection. She doesn't demand love. She inspires it because she knows that true influence comes from understanding, not control. And when she gives that kind of understanding, she leaves an emotional imprint that stays in his heart. Even when she's not around, he remembers how she made him feel. Steady, seen, and valued. That's what emotional intelligence does. It makes you unforgettable, not because you tried to be, but because you carried yourself with grace, empathy, and strength that few people ever master. Having your own life, your own dreams, and your own purpose is one of the most powerful ways to stay on a man's mind without trying. When a woman is deeply connected to her goals, she radiates an energy that's magnetic. She's not sitting around waiting for someone to make her happy. She's out there building her life, chasing her passions, and becoming the best version of herself. That independence doesn't push a man away, it pulls him in. Because when he sees a woman who is fulfilled on her own, he realizes she's not looking for a savior, she's looking for a partner. And that difference changes everything. When a woman has purpose, she carries herself differently. She's focused, driven, and alive with direction. She doesn't settle for mediocrity because she knows what she's working toward. A man can feel that energy. It's in the way she talks about her goals, the way she lights up when she speaks about something she loves. That passion makes her stand out from everyone else. He starts to admire her dedication, her drive, her independence. And even when she's not around, he thinks about her because her energy inspired him. She's not just another person in his life. She's someone who pushes him to grow just by being herself. A woman who has her own life doesn't revolve around a man. She values her relationship, but she doesn't lose herself in it. She knows how to balance love with individuality. When she spends time with him, she's fully present. But when she's apart, she's focused on her own world. That balance keeps things interesting. It makes a man realize that she's not dependent on him for joy. And that makes him want to be around her even more because a man will always be drawn to a woman who has her own rhythm, who doesn't need constant validation to feel whole. Having your own life also means you have something to share, something that adds value to the relationship. You bring new ideas, new perspectives, and new energy every time you meet. You don't drain him with complaints or clinginess. You uplift him with your excitement for life. A man remembers the woman who brought light into his world, who inspired him to dream bigger, who reminded him that There's more to life than routine. That's what purpose does. It gives